Are you even remotely confident that we will get a pipeline built with Carney in the Prime Minister's office?
I am hopeful at this point that we not only would be able to get a pipeline built, but a number of other pieces of infrastructure as well.
Sheila Gunn-Reid for Rebel News. I'm here in Saskatoon, Saskatchewan for the Saskatchewan Party Convention. It was the largest Saskatchewan Party convention, 3 times larger than previous numbers, with over 1,000 people in attendance. And those people were here in droves to support Leader and Premier Scott Moe, who faced a leadership review. Within the crowd, it seemed that anything under 80% would be bad news and signal change. But he did pass with, as they say, flying carpets with over 80%. Watch this.
This year, the result of leadership votes where the leader received more than 80% support.
At the convention today, they were able to bring forward and then pass a resolution to limit voting in nominations to Canadian citizens, which would, of course, result in mainstream media calling these people racist. However, it brings the policy in line with Elections Saskatchewan.
Because the real story behind those economic indicators and those statistics and those numbers are Saskatchewan people, Saskatchewan families, and Saskatchewan communities.
Parental rights were a huge topic here today. Members of the crowd were able to ask the Saskatchewan Party MLAs questions about parental rights, which were a massive issue in the last election in 2024, wherein Scott Moe backtracked on his parental rights stance and protecting girls-only spaces in school. And some people speculate, me being one of them, that backtracking was what led to the Saskatchewan Party losing 14 seats to the NDP.
Children have a reduced level of maturity. That is the Canadian law. It also says in Canadian law, parents have a legal duty to care. There is no hard science to justify socially transient children, 16-year-old children, and there's no science to say that 5-year-old children know they are of the opposite sex. I would like to know, would you use these facts, or would you prefer that the 900 Sask Party leaders help you promote these facts? Thank you. Sorry, Terry Carson from Lakeview, Regina.
Terry, that's loud, holy smokes. Hold the microphone back a little bit there, sorry. Thanks, Terry, for the question. Two-part answer. My name is Edward Hindley, I'm the Minister of Education in LA for so current, and I'll also turn the mic over to my learned friend, Tim McLeod, the Minister of Justice, just to speak to it from that perspective. But as the Education Minister, I would just say this around Bill 137. This is a government and a party that will always put families first, put parents first, to make sure that parents are in the know around everything that happens around their kids. And that includes in the school system, and that's why we stand by this piece of legislation.
Yeah, I'll echo those comments. Thanks very much for the question. We absolutely are going to continue to protect the parent's right to be the most important person in a child's life. 100%. We were pleased that the Supreme Court agreed to hear our appeal on the issue of the use of the notwithstanding clause. We are firmly of the opinion that the use of the notwithstanding clause is for democratic consideration. That's why it has to be renewed every 5 years. The government has the right to use that when that aligns with what the people of their province want. We did exactly that, and we're going to take that fight to the Supreme Court, and we look forward to the results there.
Keynote speaker today was an odd choice, in my opinion, although I like the guy. It was Ben Mulroney, son of former Prime Minister Brian Mulroney. And while the crowd was receptive and he gave a great speech, for me it seemed sort of odd to bring in an elite of the Easterner type to speak at a Saskatchewan Party convention where on any given day, Saskatchewan Party supporters want a referendum on separation at about 50% in support of.
It is not lost on me that when he floated the idea of having me here to his trusted advisors, somebody might have said to him, Mr. Premier, this is the guy who asks people, who are you wearing on red carpets? Are you sure that you want him here? But the Premier gets his way, and I thank him for that. And that's where I want to start today. The idea that we are more than what we do, and that at any point we have the power and the agency to change how the world sees us. The Premier's team asked me if there was a particular song that I wanted to be playing when I went up on stage. I thought about it for a while, and I thought, Wagon Wheel by Darius Rucker. I actually got very excited when the idea popped in my head for a few reasons. One, it's a great freaking song. Two, I can sing the heck out of it at karaoke. And three, it's a prime example about what I want to talk about today, reinvention. There was a time where we all loved Hootie and the Blowfish. You know you did. And then one day we didn't. And the very next day after that, we all hated Hootie. It was a deep, visceral hatred reserved normally for the likes of Justin Trudeau and Ben Holt. And at that point, had you told the legion of Hootie-hating people that one day, a few short years later, they would be reintroduced to the front then as a country singer, he would have been laughed off this stage. But Darius Rucker reinvented himself. He wrote a new chapter, he wrote an entire new book, and the rest is history. Reinvention is not only possible, it is necessary.
At the post-convention scrum, Rebel News was able to put a question to Premier Scott Moe on pipelines.
You've talked about Prime Minister Carney being a different boss in charge, but after seeing that budget and seeing that there's still that zombie industrial carbon tax in there, and knowing that the Office of Major Projects has one staff and no office, are you even remotely confident that we will get a pipeline built with Carney in the Prime Minister's office?
I am hopeful at this point that we not only would be able to get a pipeline built, but a number of other pieces of infrastructure as well. You quite rightfully have operationally, pointed out that there's going to have to be some more resources put into that space. Bill C5 is a stopgap to legislate through what is essentially an unworkable regulatory environment. And so there is going to have to be some resources if that is going to have any success in any way, in particular when it comes to a significant project like a pipeline. I commend Premier Smith for stepping forward and being the proponent in the early days for that project. If there are a couple other to quote Premier Smith, bad laws that are removed, I think you'll see the private sector move into that space sooner rather than later. But if we truly want to become, and I'll use the Prime Minister Carney's words, an energy superpower and have the strongest economy in the G7 nation, it means we have to open up, and I'll say this because I say this to him, we need to open up runway and opportunities for all of our industries, which include the oil and gas industry, to not only maintain their current production, but to expand that production. If we are truly going to be serious about being that economic superpower and balancing our federal budget, all industries are going to need that opportunity to move forward. And we should be proud of that as Canadians, as I always say, because if you're concerned about the sustainability of how we produce things, ours is the best in the world. And so the world should buy more of it, and we should make more available. So I do have concerns operationally. Just back to the budget in particular on the industrial carbon tax. And I did see those statements that they're going to continue to move forward with an industrial carbon tax. This is a conversation where I won't speak for Alberta, but I'll speak for Saskatchewan, where we have been working with not only Prime Minister Carney, but a number of his ministers to see if it is possible for us to chart a path forward that is going to work for the industries that are investing and provide certainty, the desperately needed certainty in our province, and see if we can come to an agreement on what will work in that space. I'm not entirely convinced we will, but we are going to try.
That's it. A wrap here from Saskatoon. Premier Scott Moe, but a rousing endorsement from party members, and they're already starting preparations for the next election, wherein they hope to win back the trust of Saskies. For Rebel News here in Saskatoon at the Saskatchewan Party Convention, I'm Sheila Gunn-Reid. The Saskatchewan Party is currently the longest serving right of centre governing party in Canada right now, and because of that, they sure are under attack by the mainstream media. But good news, Sheila Gunn-Reid from Rebel News is here to tell you the other side of this story. If you like this reporting, consider visiting rebelfieldreports.com to support our mission. Again, that's rebelfieldreports.com.